Nice to welcome you to another edition of NAFDAC and Your Health, where you get to know about the activities of NAFDAC at ensuring that the food, water, drinks, drugs, cosmetics, and medical equipment that are made available for public use are of good quality and are proved to be of acceptable standard. I am your host, Amanda Ugo. On this edition of NAFDAC and Your Health, we'll be starting with the significance and numerous advantages of breastfeeding, as well as the efforts and the unwavering commitment of NAFDAC to protecting, promoting, and supporting breastfeeding. This will dovetail into highlights from the commemoration of the annual Breastfeeding Week for the year 2024. And then we'll bring you needs of activities from NAFDAC's offices across the nation. Breastfeeding is one important life-enhancing responsibility that mothers owe their babies to give the babies good foundation for healthy growth. But most mothers have neglected breastfeeding for substitutes which are an extremely less beneficial means of feeding babies.
We could do much better, of course, in terms of breastfeeding. Sometimes I wonder why it is even an issue. Breastfeeding is supposed to be normal for a child. We were breastfed for more than 2.5 years, my own generation. And some of the illnesses that are afflicting the younger generations are not afflicting us. Of course, other illnesses may come in because of one factor or the other. But we were breastfed because our parents know that it is primary responsibility to give that child a good start in life. Breast milk comes with a lot of immune factors that could prevent illnesses in the future. Again, a child can be ill. Malaria, if a child is bitten by mosquito, the child can have malaria, things like that. But in terms of making sure that the foundation is good, it is breast milk. Our parents were mostly agrarian, at least my own generation, which means they can do breastfeeding at any time. But now that we are young, the younger generations have to go to work, they can still breastfeed. My own children breastfeed their children, despite the fact they are working. Because you can still pump the milk and put in a bottle. Take it to daycare. This is reality. Not many parents are staying at home again. Unlike our own parents that are agrarian, they go to the farm, but the child is always there with them. But the most important thing is to focus on the milk. So long as that child gets the milk, the breast milk, the best thing is to, of course, breastfeed. If you're at home, there are some parents that don't work or that have kiosks in front of their houses and whatnot. They can breastfeed very well. If you come back from work, you can breastfeed. But if you are not there, the first thing is not formula. It's expressed milk from the breast. And why is that so important? I've said it. We are laying a good foundation in terms of the health of that child. So it shouldn't be a problem. Our parents have something that they were handed over to by the other ancestors and so on. But somehow we don't seem to understand that breast milk is the best. Does that mean that a child cannot be given a bottle? If the mother is very ill, there is nothing you can do. But these are all exceptions. It's not the rule, So unless the mother is very ill, then an alternative can be given. But this is an exception, not the rule. Somehow I don't know why it has become so difficult for young mothers to think of alternative. If it is cosmetics, God didn't give us a breast for cosmetics' sake. It is so that our own children can be healthy, So if somebody is thinking cosmetics, think of holistic approach to life. the older mothers or relatives will have to come in, because sometimes a young mother may not have experience. If he doesn't come, oh, he doesn't come, so I will just use bottle. You have to, especially immediately after birth, you have to keep giving it to the child. The child will draw it out later. But again, the mother is supposed to be the focus. You cannot ration food for a child, for a mother. A mother that doesn't have money to feed herself cannot be a good producer of breast milk. So the mother has to be, the people around have to know that if a child needs this milk, then the mother has to be taken care of.
NAFDAC, in its usual practice, again joined the rest of the world recently to mark the World Breastfeeding Week. The commemoration themed Closing the Gap, Breastfeeding Support for All had in attendance stakeholders and healthcare experts from the public and private sectors. The inauguration of the Lagos State Breastfeeding Substitute Technical Committee on International Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitutes also took place on the occasion. Delivering the opening address on behalf of the NAFDAC Director General, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, at the event, the Director, Food Safety and Applied Nutrition Directorate of NAFDAC, who represented the DG, spoke on the significance of breastfeeding and the purpose of commemorating the World Breastfeeding Week.
The theme for this year, Closing the Gap, Breastfeeding Support for All, highlights the need to improve breastfeeding support to reduce health inequities that exist in our societies, with a special focus on breastfeeding in times of emergencies and crises, as well as protecting the rights of mothers and babies to survive and thrive. This theme also emphasizes the collective responsibility of all to ensure that every mother receives the support she needs to make breastfeeding a successful and fulfilling experience. It has been estimated that many women do not receive the support they need to optimally breastfeed their babies. This includes access to trained personnel, providing empathetic and respectful health advice and counseling throughout a woman's breastfeeding journey. The World Health Organization recommends early initiation of breastfeeding within 1 hour of the baby's birth, exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life, followed by introduction of safe, appropriate, adequate complementary foods as from 6 months, while breastfeeding continues up to 2 years of age or beyond. According to the Nigerian Demographic and Health Survey of 2018, 97% of children are breastfed in Nigeria at one point or the other, but only 42% of them are put to the breast within 1 hour of birth. And the proportion of children 0 to 6 months who are exclusively breastfed is 29%. The 2021 Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey puts this figure for exclusive breastfeeding at approximately 34%. Both figures show an improvement in national exclusive breastfeeding rates from the previous 17%. However, they still fall far short of the World Health Organization target of increasing exclusive breastfeeding rates to at least 50% by the year 2025. This therefore calls for action from all of us in our respective capacities as breastfeeding actors to accelerate progress and scale up optimal breastfeeding practices in order to achieve the global target and save the lives of our children and mothers.
The NAFDAC Director General enumerated tasks that have to be accomplished to record satisfactory success in the drive towards improved breastfeeding. The NAFDAC DG also mentioned some of the innumerable benefits of breastfeeding. Speaking further through the FSAN director, the Director General of NAFDAC said NAFDAC is committed to addressing aggressively the inappropriate marketing of breast milk substitutes by infant food manufacturers and marketers. There were paper presentations speaking to the theme of the commemoration and related topics. Dr. Chioma Ima Nwachukwu, the program team lead, Nutrition Society of Nigeria, who is also a nutritionist and a life coach, made a presentation basically on the theme.
We also need to know is one of the most effective ways to ensure child's health and survival. In fact, when you study breastfeeding, you sit down, you read about it, you read what God has packaged there for us. You will agree with me that it is in fact, just to be modest, that we are saying is one of the most effective ways. If you want a child to be healthy, if you want a child to survive, you breastfeed that child. And that's why I think people that say it's a crime, that's why they say it's a crime if you don't provide a child with breast milk. I remember there was a time I just had a baby, and I got to my cousin's place. She had triplets, and this one was crying. No, I took one. I started breastfeeding the child. I was like, what? I started breastfeeding the child. So we should get to the point where we do these things, and it doesn't really mean anything to us, because we know that we want to promote child's good health, ensure that good health, and then survival of the child. Like we said, it is the ideal milk for the infant, the ideal food for the infant.
Other presentations were made by Mrs. Ikejiofo Chinyere, Head, Nutrition Unit of the Food Safety and Applied Nutrition of NAFDAC, on the overview of the Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitutes and relevant World Health Assembly resolutions, and Mr. Abdulrazak Jadha, a Deputy Director in the FSAN Directorate, whose presentation was on the overview of the National Strategy on the Implementation of the National Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitutes. The Director, Food Safety and Applied Nutrition Directorate, Mrs. Eva Edwards, then read out the term of reference for the Lagos State Multi-Sectorial Breast Milk Substitute Technical Committee.
We need to be well-grounded before we can offer those training services to health workers, to technical officers, and the media at Lagos State level on implementation and monitoring of the code. Our 8th term of reference is to discuss and track progress of implementation of the Code Strategic Plan for Lagos State at state level. And then, of course, to join monitoring teams for regular, routine, and periodic monitoring. As one of the activities also, part of the terms of reference is to lead, as the state's technical committee, to lead advocacy visits in Lagos State. And finally, to support NAFDAC in her engagement with infant food manufacturers and marketers, playing the role of providing technical backup. And that is the last slide. So we have gone through.
It was after this that the FSAN Director officially inaugurated the committee on behalf of the Director General of NAFDAC. The members of the committee include representatives of the Lagos State Ministries of Justice, Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Information, Basic and Secondary School Education, Health and Primary Health Care. Others were representatives of civil society scaling up nutrition in Nigeria, UNICEF and the academia, Yaba College of Technology, Nutrition Society of Nigeria, Association of Nigerian Private Medical Practitioners, the Association of General Private Nursing Association of Nigeria, and Medical Women's Association of Nigeria. You have been watching NAFDAC and Your Health. Please stay tuned.
The first 6 months of a baby's life brings that first grasp, that first smile, that first laugh. For the first 6 months, don't give water. Breast milk has everything baby needs to grow strong and sharp. For the first 6 months, give baby only breast milk, no water.
Start strong. Zero water exclusive breastfeeding for better future. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, Alive and Thrive, and other nutrition partners.
Welcome back. You are still watching NAFDAC and Your Health. Thank you for staying tuned.
In its quest to sustain sensitization, awareness creation and engagement with the stakeholders, the Kaduna State Office of NAFDAC organized a one-day workshop under the leadership of the Director Northwest Zone, Mrs. Josephine Abbas Dailim. The workshop was aimed at knowledge and information sharing with stakeholders in the state and to also serve as catalyst for positive change in the business community and engaging with the stakeholders in order to get feedback from them on the activities and policy direction of the agency. The participants during the workshop were captains of industries in the food and drug sector, Association of Table Water Producers, Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, Nigerian Association of Patent and Proprietary Medicine Dealers, Agromedical Dealers, Master Bakers, Arewa Bakers and Caterers Association, Chemical Sellers, Supermarket Operators, Fast Food and Quick Service Restaurants Operators, and the MSMEs. Other sister agencies that were present at the workshop were the Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Customs Service, Department of State Services, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. According to the Zonal Director, the workshop marks a significant step forward in the shared commitment of NAFDAC and the people to ensure the safety and quality of regulated products circulating in the market throughout the state and beyond. The Zonal Director said Kaduna State is predominantly an agrarian state with quite a number of agric-based entrepreneurs springing up with the intention to register one product or the other with the agency. This makes this workshop apt and timely, as it will definitely empower such entrepreneurs with better knowledge on how to register their products with NAFDAC with a view to adhering strictly to the standard quality and safety of the products. The Zonal Director, Mrs. Josephine Abbas Dailim, further highlighted the giant strides made by NAFDAC under the able leadership of the amiable and indefatigable Director General, Professor Christiana Mojisola Adeyeye. She assured the participants that NAFDAC is ready to collaborate with them to navigate the regulatory landscape together for optimum productivity and enhanced goods and services delivery. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is ready to partner with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor, to fight drug counterfeiting, drug abuse, unwholesome food, unauthorized handling of chemicals which are equally fueling terrorist operations and other criminal activities in the country. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Christiana Adeyeye, stated this in Abuja when the National Coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor, Major General Adamu Gabalaka and his team paid her a courtesy visit in our office to solicit the agency's support in deploying some of its officers to the center to operate in their forensic, toxicology, biological and deoxyribonucleic acid laboratories, which are rated the best in the country with modern and sophisticated equipment. Professor Adeyeye used the occasion to thank the Office of the National Security Advisor for returning NAFDAC to the ports in 2018, a year after her assumption of office as the Director General of NAFDAC. She commended the relentless efforts of the National Coordinator, National Counter-Terrorism Center for supporting NAFDAC's return to the ports. She further stated that NAFDAC will continue to work with the Office of the National Security Advisor to ensure that sanity returns to our country. On his part, the National Coordinator, National Counter-Terrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor, Major General A.G. Laka, said that NAFDAC is an embodiment of knowledge in the area of science and research, which stands the agency out in the community of world regulatory authorities. He pledged his continuous support to the agency in the area of operations, research, laboratory testing and investigation. He also sought NAFDAC support to the center in the area of operationalization of the laboratory equipment and analysis for it to achieve its objective. He equally thanked NAFDAC DG for releasing one of her staff to the center and requested for more staff from the agency. The Ebonyi State Office of NAFDAC has detected and sealed 4 bakeries operating without authorization. Acting on intelligence and the need to enforce and establish relevant safety and quality assurance system on production sites and regulated products, the Investigation and Enforcement Unit of NAFDAC in the state visited the site and discovered that the bakeries were producing under poor hygienic and sanitary conditions. The buildings were constructed with woods and rusty zinc sheets. The equipment were also inadequate and unsuitable for the production of edible products. The owners were later invited for further interrogations. That was NAFDAC Update. You have been updated.
This is where we'll call it a day on this edition of the program. We shall be back again, same time, same station next week with another incisive package. If you have any information that could help NAFDAC to further safeguard the health of Nigerians, please reach out to us.
You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email reforms@nafdac.gov.ng or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded.
Remember, producing, importing, distributing, marketing, advertising or selling of unwholesome food products, fake drugs and cosmetics, or unapproved chemical and medical equipment are all against the law. Please desist from these acts as they pose a great danger to the health of the nation. Till we meet again next week, stay healthy.